Hey guys, Kevpert here, and welcome to episode 4 of my 3v3 analysis series. Today, we're going to watch my team apply both the basic rotation we saw the Flying Dutchman use in episode 2, and that contested 50-50 rotation that we saw Weedham Girls use in episode 3. Now, to really hit these points home, I've got some new tech that'll let me draw on the screen. But I did have to decrease the quality of my videos to be able to pull it off, so I'm just going to apologize for that in advance, but I think the benefit definitely outweighs the drawbacks there. So let's get started. We'll go from my team's perspective. See, I was going for double boost. We'll see us do that a lot. We picked that up from Weedham Girls. Here, Drake just takes this upfield, and you'll see myself here on the left, just opening up for a pass. As soon as I realize that I'm not in a good position here, you'll see myself just kind of turn out and then rotate back and become that third player. So as Drake's taking this up, I'm rotating. I've rotated right back to net. This is that basic rotation. Rotated to here. This frees up Values to defend this corner. And if he successfully defends this corner, this ball goes over here, and then we can get out and not have to do a defensive rotation where Drake has to come in back here. Whoops. But he is unable to do this, actually. But we're in a nice position where I'm in net. This is not very dangerous. Values defending the wall. I'm in the net. This is perfect. And then Values comes here, and he's able to hit this. So this is that basic rotation play. You'll see Drake come rushing down the line here. You'll see him just kind of come into the back here. You see Values is there as the number 1 player. I'm going to be number 2 as I step out here. And then you'll see Drake here as number 3. So this is a nice position here. And we're really able to support the play. All right, whoops. Let's get rid of that. So there's that classic formation we saw Weedham Girls and Flying Dutchman use when they're coming out of the back. You have the first player with the ball here. You have that second player in support. If there's a 50-50, they're very close to each other. And then you have the third player. And you'll notice Drake actually, because I was around here and Drake was around here, he actually turns left and does a big circle so that he remains in a good position and has a bunch of momentum to attack any ball that comes his way. So let's just look at that real quick. Play this through at 100%. Values is carrying that out. You see Drake do the little circle, and now he's in a good position as the third man. All right, and this is the first point I really wanted to hammer home. This is the difference between a great team, Weedham Girls, and just like a good team with us. And the thing with Drake's positioning here is he's in a great spot so that if there's any clear that comes in like this area, he's able to jump up and meet that. Now, this ball goes over here, and Drake's actually in a good position to cut this ball out, double jump aerial, and hit this and pinch it against the wall or just hit it down this way. But he actually stays and does the conservative option, and it actually costs us an opportunity to get up the field. So had he hit this at this point, we may have been, instead of going into the defensive transition, you see Values coming back, you see myself coming back, instead of doing that, we may have been able to just kind of turn here and then just get into a nice rotation, right? Drake being over here, 2, 3, and like got into a nice position. That's actually a 1, guys. Instead, we're defending the corner unsuccessfully. Now we're in defensive rotation. We actually get out because Orange completely leaves and they have no pressure on us. And then we eventually get into a nice position to get out. Actually, I want to go back to that last point. I think it goes around here. Right here. And we'll watch this from Drake's perspective, because I think this is very winnable. And I think this is just some hesitation on his part. Let's go actually 50%. And you see here, he was definitely able to go up for that and hit that without turning back. And now he's making this awkward hit attempt. It just doesn't work out. It's a small thing, but it's a big thing that makes It's also a big thing in that it makes a big difference in how the play unfolds. Okay, here, let's go back to fly cam here. Here, this is another issue that we've been having. It's finding that right balance. You see Maestro cheat up a lot, but Maestro has a really good read on the situation. So you see Values is going to take this ball up here. You'll see myself get into position here to support. But Drake is going to be right here. And Drake is looking for a pass that, in my opinion, that pass really doesn't have a large window, large opportunity to happen once Values gets on a dribble, right? He would have to get on top of his car and flick it that way. It's in front of his car. He's doing a push dribble. That's a signal to me that I want to be very close. So as this play unfolds, right here, you see he's right behind that ball. I want to get very close, but I feel like I can't, right? I want to ideally be in like this sort of area, right? Drake should have a better read on the situation. When this is happening, he knows a pass shouldn't happen, so he should be rotating back here. But you see him just linger there, and it causes some issues. Okay, I do get the next 50, and this lets Drake get boost there. Valley's going for that hit. He doesn't get it, but very nice rotation from Valleys here. Good read, right? As Drake goes all the way back, Valleys feels like he's in the best position to be the number 2 guy, right? He becomes number 2. Obviously, I'm number 1. Drake's going to come all the way around and become a number 3. And you see that in play right there. So even if Valley's misses that, Drake's there to get a hit. And you see me read this play, and I feel like I did a good job being that third man right there. It's a small thing, but since this is uncontested, and we're talking about what we learned from episode 3, this is an uncontested hit, so I'm expecting a hit that comes very deep over here. So that means my positioning needs to be like this to meet any ball like that. Since this hits the ceiling, I'm starting to turn back, but then I'm able to just turn and hit this ball. And you'll see that here. I use a power slide turn to be able to pull that off. Right there, quick turn, keep it in the area. Value's turning in, Drake being in a nice third position. And this ball hits that weird corner of the wall, and it kind of just drops right in front of me. So I get this hit. But you see this very nice position. 1, 2, 3. Everyone's understanding their role. And this is a nice spot to talk about what each player's role is, right? As a second player, Values is in a great position to provide sideline support. So if the ball spills this way, like they get a clear, Values is there to hit that ball back and recenter. Also, if the ball kind of floats into this area in front of the goal, Values is able to get up and attack that. Now, if the ball gets cleared back here, Drake is in a good position to defend this and aerial up for anything like that. And he's also in a good position to come across if the ball comes across and gets deflected that way. He's able to recenter anything over there. And then we're able to, rotate off of that. So that's all that is. It's not applicable here, but the positioning is good when we see us get a goal there. Pretty standard kickoff. Going for the double boost. Basic rotation, you see me just rotating behind Values there. Values going to step. Drake is now in the back, right? He doesn't cut like we saw in episode 1. He's become very well versed in the basic rotation. So as this happens, you'll see, Values number 1, myself number 2, Drake going to be number 3. And he stays a sufficient distance behind to be a good third player. So the spacing is really good here. Now, this is an interesting rotation, and is a very useful rotation. You'll see here, and we'll play this very slowly, that as this ball rolls up, I decide to leave, right? And I'm just going to swap with Drake, and Drake can rush up. Since this ball goes very vertical, like going for an aerial up here would require me to use a lot of boost, would require me to go almost straight up and have some trouble landing. It's going to take me a while to get back down. So it's much better for me to just call this off and call Drake onto the ball and just rotate with him. So you see that right here. As the ball goes up, you see us take that route. And now, even though they get the secondary clear, we're in a good position to play off that. And right there, we see a contested 50-50. So you see my position change. So as this looks uncontested at the moment, I start backing off. And you'll see me do this movement. Right? If it's uncontested, I really want to be in a position where if there's a shot and goal, I can save it. But since Values actually gets a contest here, I just kind of turn and then go for the hit. Right? I try to get as close as possible to get the second ball. There it is. And actually, I almost score off this. It hits the ceiling and hits the crossbar. Bit unlucky. But that just goes to show you how important reading the play is before it happens. Right there. Nice contest. Instead of going into defensive rotation, we're now on the attack. And here we actually see something really interesting and something worth talking about, because this is trying to balance that basic rotation and that Weedham Girls style rotation where they cut in front a lot. So Drake at this point has an opportunity to cut over here and become that second player, right? And then Values has an opportunity to come over here. But this move, right, is very risky that Drake is making because it has the potential for Values not to read it and them to get kind of stacked in this kind of area. So what it really depends on is Values. If he turns quickly, then he should be second player since he's closest. Then Drake should just fill in as third player. Obviously, I'm up here. I'm going to be out of the play. I was the first player in this previous play. Now, if Values goes all the way back, he can tell Drake, hey, why don't you go ahead and cut? I'm going to go grab boost. And that's totally fine, too. Drake becomes second, and then Values eventually going to become third. But you see what ends up happening here is they both arrive at the same time. Drake cuts when Values turns early. Right? There has to be some communication there. But really, Drake should default into going behind Values unless Values says otherwise. So you see them arrive at the same time. This is really not optimal. Drake going for a weird hit here. He doesn't get it. Values not getting this next hit either. And now all of a sudden we've gone from a promising attacking position all the way to a very defensive one. And so you see me booking it across the back. I get the save. And then you see a bit of a mix-up here as we bump each other in the corner. But that all happened because Drake cut across. Didn't communicate that properly. Really, he shouldn't be cutting across there. And this is a nice recovery from Drake. Once he gets bumped here, he actually hits us across. So based on the positions of all three orange players, they're all over there, it really makes no sense to clear it into that area. It's just going to come right back. So what Drake does, instead of doing that, he's just going to hit it over here, and we're going to get a pass out and maybe get a clear out that way. Right? This is a lot more effective than even just kind of controlling this into a dribble, which I don't find that effective in threes. So here he passes it across. Very well done. Values gets that. Values gets a second hit. Nice play there. And then you see myself get into this nice sideline support position as second player. Drake is in here as a third. You see that first. So as this play is rolling into the corner, as this ball's rolling into the corner, you'll see I'm able to support any clear that comes this way, right? Because I can easily just go up the wall and recenter. I'm also in a position where if it comes out center, I'm able to aerial that. And I think that's exactly what I do. Right, it just goes up, and I'm up, and then Drake could be following this. He doesn't. I understand why he doesn't, though, because Values is kind of just falling off the wall here. It doesn't make sense to all be congested in that area. So I can understand him not going there and going for this hit. Very nice spin that he does here. He just kind of circles, just to conserve his momentum, and then he rushes into the corner. All right, I think about going since Values is staying back. Doesn't work out, and then we actually give up a clear. And I would say this is more on Values positioning here. You see he's kind of just sitting on that boost pad. I would much rather him just grab a couple boosts, get in this kind of area. So if the ball does come in this general area where bypasses me, he's able to just re-clear that into that sort of area. What you see here is suboptimal positioning over there results in loss of pressure. Instead of keeping them in a defensive rotation, we give them an opportunity to break into a counterattack. They go for a shot, and now we're firmly entrenched in a defensive rotation at this point, right? Orange set quite nicely. That is actually a miss 50 from Fire. That's a miss 50-50 challenge. Drake in a nice position, though. So we see Drake come working back, and he's just going to work into this area. You'll see myself defend that and come to this area. So Drake is in a nice support position. It's a very, very good from him. You see that. So as this play unfolds, Drake's gone. You'll see Values take over as a second player. Since he has more momentum, I let him go ahead. And I'll say, hey, you know, go ahead and step. I'll just stay. And we see that formation once again. So we're really good at counterattacking on the back. That's a nice formation there. Drake doesn't need us. He just goes along. But that's a goal straight out of the textbook in terms of basic rotation. It's a bit of a weird kickoff there. Not too important. I get the save here, and then we're just going to go into basic rotation. You see myself go into the corner. Whoops. Myself go into the corner. You see Values already here in a nice support position. You'll see Drake. He'll think about going here, but if he has the opportunity to, and if the play is safe enough to allow it, he can grab that boost, and he might become an asset later in the play. So let's clear that. You'll see he actually goes for boost here. And since the ball is definitely in our possession, he's able to do that with fairly low risk. So I think it's a nice gamble that pays off. Now here I want to talk about that 50-50 positioning. So once this ball comes out, I'm there for a 50-50. So Values is in a nice position to support any ball that kind of pings into this area, right? He's able to just kind of attack that, should that happen. And that is exactly what happens, right? He's able to go for the next hit. Okay, it doesn't work out. But here, I think about turning here, and you see this little turn here. Since Drake is so far back, I think about turning here and staying as that second player, right, off this play. It doesn't work out since my opponent gets there a lot quicker than I do. But you see the intent there. Drake comes across. You'll see myself just rotate to net. Drake goes for this. And here, it's not very dangerous. Kind of lob that up. And then Values does a little backflip there. Just a bit unfortunate. Probably not the best idea to chip it up there. It's not really what I was going for, but backflips happen. So I think Values is definitely our best player. So a bit uncharacteristic of him. But here we see that kickoff. And I get this hit. And Values can be a lot more purposeful and just grab his boost and get in a position where he can clear any hit. Because this is definitely going to be an uncontested clear. So we really need to have deep positions. Drake's already in a good position. Values needs to get a little deeper, right? We've given up possession here. So here, Values goes out of his way to get boost. That's fine, but then he misses that aerial because he's coming off the wall. Downward momentum is a bit difficult. So I can understand why he's missed. But you see that we're unsuccessful in being able to defend the corner. So Drake has made this decision to step, and this ball gets cleared this way. So we have no ability to clear the ball back this way. So we get stuck in this defensive rotation, and you'll see that here. Right, that's not a slight on Drake. That's just what ends up happening. So here at this point, you'll see Values on the left side of the screen rush back. You see us get bumped there. So it's happened twice on that boost pad. You see Values is coming back. He's going to rotate into the back post here. And you'll see him just mop this up. Okay, Orange is backed off. You see that rotation. I've rotated this way. Drake has already rotated this way. And we're in a nice position to support this 50-50. All right, now Drake's going to get a lot closer. There's a 50-50. I anticipate this to kind of just off of 50-50, just kind of spill out this way, either way. And this is the benefit of push dribbling in threes. It's a really nice way to get out and cause a 50-50. There's 50-50. Drake is rushing there. He doesn't get there first. And really, I don't mind that he's cut across there. That is totally fine by me. Oh, let's slow this down. So this movement here is fine as long as I understand that I need to kind of stay back and get in this kind of area. So Drake's come across. He's kind of stacked. He's kind of useless at this point. So you see him. He's going to just rotate out. And I really like that. And Valley's going to rotate in here. All right, so Valley's is providing nice support on the second hit. You'll see in this next play, Valley's is reading this play very early. So at this point, it becomes very obvious where the ball is going to go. It's going to go right based on the trajectory of this ball, where the players are on the pitch. You see how this opponent here is facing this way. So the ball is definitely going to come this way. So Valley's already turning his car, and he's anticipating that, and he's going to move that way. So very good read from him. You see that there. Now he's already there. You know, could he have stepped in there? You see Drake has left the field. So this might be Valley's responsibility to get that. Right? Since Drake's gone all the way back, this is a much more efficient use of his resources. Instead, what you see is Valley kind of hesitates, and he drops behind Drake. So instead of Valley's being the second player, you see Drake become the second player, and Valley's becoming the third. Bit interesting, but in terms of wanting to play more like Weedham Girls and using their contested 50-50 framework, Valley's going for 50-50 here would have been more optimal, I would say. But anyway, he backs off. Drake's in a deep enough position to get a nice clear. You see myself rotating back on the right. And you see here, there's a loss of support, and we give a uncontested clear. And this is on Drake again. Drake has turned way too early here. So at this point, you see an uncontested hit. Really, he's not in the play there anymore. So Drake should be getting really deep to hit any clear that comes into this area back, right? Instead, what we see is Drake turns really sharply. And so we have two players in this area. We have one providing sideline support. That's fine. But then Drake is also too close to the field in this area. So this is going to cause a loss of pressure. And it's why it's so important when there's an uncontested hit that third player gets really deep. And you see here, since he's turned, he's gone for a very difficult clear attempt. This actually causes a goal. And we actually see Drake make another mistake. Mistakes really come in pairs. So we see this poor clear. Then he goes out of his way to get boost. So as this ball comes off the wall, he's late making this next challenge. Had he not gone for boost, we might have been okay. But really, it's that turn there that really screws him up. But anyway, let's get to the next kickoff. Okay, pretty standard. We have an opportunity to defend the corner. You see Drake is in a position to pinch the ball out, and he's going to get in this area and pinch the ball this way, or he could let Valleys take it and do the same job. Drake also has the opportunity to carry it this way. And so since there's low pressure in terms of, orange being in our area, Valleys just calls him off. And this is very simple, and he just clears it this way. And then Drake is just going to rotate in behind. And I really like this. It just shows how simple it is if you communicate. Drake just rotates in behind. I'm rotating in behind all of them. Drake goes, and then I can support here. And Valleys, instead of rushing in, and you would have seen this a lot in episode 1, you would have seen myself cut in and Valleys thinking that we're both the support player, number 2s. Instead, you see Valleys recognizing that I've stepped. So Valleys is going to do a circle, and he's going to do this sort of motion. And so in the end, we have a very nice 3-man position, right? We have 1, 2, 3. Really nice spacing. And we're all effective and understanding of our roles. So as I take this, Valleys is in a good position. Maybe he lingers a little too long. I know there's some confusion as someone backflips in the net. And Drake goes for this boost and gets a turn. Now, that turn is actually really problematic. And I would say here that Values has an opportunity to just kind of understand what's going to happen here. Since the ball's gone so slowly, it's really not going to drop in front of net. What's going to happen most likely is going to get cleared this way. So Values might be better served just rotating out at this position. He's too far up. He's going to be ineffective and just becoming the third player. Maybe letting Drake kind of get in between them and become the second player. That's what I would have preferred. You see Drake making this mistake here of getting here and then turning very sharply. Again, it's the same mistake as earlier, but it's even more ludicrous this time, I would say, because of how uncontested this hit is. There's 0 people in terms of blue that could hit this ball. So really, we're anticipating a huge clear. It's going to go here and maybe drop over here, right? We're anticipating a huge one. So Drake should not be turning so sharply. This is just poor awareness on his part. And I'm sure he will improve this as we move forward in 3. So you see him, he's actually reversing and going for a backwards aerial, right? So that's all because of his positioning. But being that third player is extremely tough. And reading that play is a skill only the very best, like Greasy or Cuxer, have mastered. So you see here, I just float this ball. I'm really deep, so I can step to this. You see Values is getting in that support position behind. And you see Drake just rotating behind, getting into that midfield eventually, and becoming that third player. So very, very good basic rotation there. So as this ball comes across, Values is comfortable in letting Drake step there. Values gets the hit. And then potentially, I could have gone for that a lot faster. Well, it's not potentially, I should have. And we'll show this from my perspective. And we'll talk about decision making and trusting your teammates. Whoops, let's go to myself. So as this ball goes up, you see Values is so far underneath the ball and he's flipped. He's really out of the play and he's not in the running to go for this rebound. So I should be, as soon as he hits it, I should be going up for this. And just trust Values is going to rotate out. He looks like he goes for a demo attempt. And I'm actually hitting this on the ground when I would have been much better served just going for this in the air. And that would have been a lot faster. We probably could have gotten a shot on goal, maybe gotten a goal itself. But you see that's just awkward there. So just a little slow in terms of reading that from my perspective. Okay, so here we see a goal from Orange. And here we see Drake struggle to be that third player. So if he's going to go for this hit, he needs to get that hit, that 50-50, so that we can keep the ball in the orange half. And then we'll probably just rotate off of that, right? But what ends up happening is Drake goes and tries to get the boost, and then he attacks from this angle, leaving this whole middle of the pitch open for a shot on goal, right, with no defense, right? If Drake goes for this risky play here, I say risk, but you can mitigate that risk. If he goes for this play here in this area, we have a lot of upside. But he also has to be aware that we have a lot of downside if he doesn't get a hit. And you see him really go out of position in attacking this ball. So he goes for the boost, and he goes for the ball. And really, we give up an easy goal. We give up the lead as well. So, a bit disappointing there. You see 9 shots in favor of Orange to our 5. But we really turn it up from here. Drake going for a nice 50. So you see me just spin off there. Let's slow this down. So as the 50's happening, we have 2 players. We have myself here. We have Values here. And you see myself just spin off into here. And then you see Values recognize that and he's just slowing down. All right, so as this ball goes into the corner, Values is stepping. You'll see Drake's rotating out. And his ball's going to go across. So here, there's 2 options. And we see Values is, he's more comfortable with the basic rotation. And he doesn't feel like he needs to cut. He can let Drake go. And Values does this movement quite a lot more often. So we see that here. Drake stepping, gets the hit. I'm already rotated back. I've gone all the way back. Usually when I go all the way back, I just tell them, hey guys, do 2's rotation. Just to keep it in their half. Let me get some boost. And that's perfectly fine. So there, I get the next hit. Hit it wide. Doesn't work out. And here we're going to do twos rotation. So you see Drake is rotated all the way back. We saw Weedham girls do this all the time. Let's slow this right down. And you see Drake's going to come all the way around. And so this offers values an opportunity to just kind of cut and be that second player. So now he's able to get this next hit, right? And that almost creates a goal, right? You saw in the Flying Dutchman's play that they were so reluctant to leave the basic rotation that they were unable to fully use their resources, their players in the right positions to their advantage. I'm not saying that's always the case, but in this sort of situation, we may have seen someone else rotate and let someone else attack this ball, right? Rather than just being comfortable in attacking the ball in that sort of area and breaking from that basic rotational model, right? That almost results in a goal. Here, Drake's read this really well. This is fantastic reading from Drake. As this ball's coming across, it's very obvious where it's going to go. It's going to go right into the right corner here. So Drake's going to move over here and get there really quickly and very purposefully. So here, you'll see values go all the way back. And then there, we see another twos rotation. And you'll see me kind of supporting this area. Right? Doesn't happen. We both go for this hit. And then Drake is able to get a rebound goal. So that turn there from me, as Values has gone all the way back, I actually get this hit. And I get this pass here. And Drake is able to just turn and attack that ball very quickly. But we saw a bunch of Weedham Girls style rotations there. We saw that twos rotation at the front too, as someone goes all the way back. And we saw that work very smoothly and create us the goal there. And a lot of goal scoring opportunities. I think we had about 3 shots there. All right, 2. So here we're just going to see us ground this for OT. And I think in OT we played very well. But there are definitely some mistakes that we made. And it's worth talking about that as well. So as this ball comes around, this is a really nice play. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. In a situation like this, in the Flying Dutchman, we saw Jesse pick the ball. Instead of picking the ball up, he instead did not want to break from the basic rotation. So he went all the way back here. And I think, in my opinion, that's a big waste of your players and their position. So you see Drake get around the ball expertly, chip this up. He beats that first player. And now I'm in a position to be number 2. Valley's maybe too close to be number 3. He needs to slow down. All right, we end up getting kind of stacked. But really nice turn from Drake. Goes into the corner. You see Drake and Values actually leaving at the same time. And this causes some issues. So all Values has to do is slow down. He could be in this kind of area. Maybe be going for that aerial instead of them both going for that boost. Now we have complete loss of pressure and a spacing issue. You see that region, how far apart we are. And that's all because these two went for boost at the same time. So that's not optimal. Oops. But you see Values get this nice hit. He's read that well. Chips it up. This is an opportunity for Drake. And you see myself as third man. Now I'm getting a lot better and more comfortable as third man. So you see an uncontested hit here. I'm anticipating, there's 3 orange up, but I'm anticipating a big clear. So I want to get back and then attack a ball that comes into this kind of area. So that's exactly what I do. You'll see here, I turn, get around the ball, power slide, and then get a nice big clear. Right, goes right into the corner off the save. And you see the support there, Values in second, and Drake also cutting across. And so they're arriving in this area at the same time. So this is, again, where we have to talk about if Values does that quick turn in this area, then Drake really needs to get behind him. This is causing some issues in our play. If Values goes deep, then he can say, Drake, why don't you go cut? But Drake should be defaulting to this position, the basic rotation, at least for our team. Right? That's how we make sense of things. So we actually give up pressure here. Drake actually being over there actually results in the goal, but I would say it's not great practice overall. But he's very aggressive. He gets there first. Valley's getting the second hit, and then Valley's taking it in for the win. So to wrap this up, you've seen a huge evolution in our play. Let's go back to that third goal, period before the third goal. Since episode 1, right? Huge evolution in our play. So where we start to get in great positions, and we really, understand each other's roles. We understand that role, especially on the counterattack, that 1-2-3 formation. It's looking a lot better. However, we still struggle when to cut into rotation, become that support player. We saw Drake cut across a couple times in overtime, and that really affected Valley's play. So it's really tough to balance, going from that basic rotation and being very regimented in that, especially in the first few weeks we were studying threes. And then moving to a Weedham girl style rotation and implementing that and finding that blend between the two, that's really difficult. But as you guys train with your own teams or you play threes, that's something you guys should look out for and, understand. I see a lot of top teams, and I'm pretty sure a lot of top teams, they don't do a lot of replay analysis and they just kind of go with what they know. And to have a nice framework of what people should be doing and where they should be, you can kind of anticipate and get in the minds of your teammates and anticipate where they're going to be. And so you guys are always on the same page. Now, we don't see that to be the case here, but you see that explain most of our actions. And where there's issues, those are very easy fixes, right? It just requires some communication. So, all it requires is like, go ahead and cut, I'll stay, or I'm stepping, you rotate, and that'll probably solve everything we need. So for the most part, I'm really happy with how the team's progressed, and we've implemented both rotational frameworks. So we'll just keep practicing and bring you more episodes. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys learned quite a bit. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.